Guys, how about that? This might be the most exciting video yet on Ashes of Creation. Nerdgasm possibilities greater than 69% in this video. It's gonna be wild. I don't know if you're ready to get wild, but I'm ready to get pretty goddamn wild. We take our pants off. We always take our pants off. Pants are off. Alright. We didn't drink the beverage last time, but we're going to this time for damn sure. Today we're going to drink to Ashes of Creation, releasing before Elon Musk lands on Mars. Bam! Bam! That felt good. Oh, let's have a drink. Oh, that's good. Guys, I'm George Carlin, and I'll be your narrator for this. It's going to be a great one, and if you're not excited already, you should be by now. We're going to cross our fingers while we roll the R thingy to make sure, and we're just going to hope that it's not messed up like it was last time. So here we go. And I think it worked that time. I think it was normal. All right, well, I don't know what happened last time, but we're good this time. All right, so in this video, we're talking about siege summons, okay? Now, this is not a highly known feature of this MMO. So I'm trying to hit on things that are more interesting in these videos because, you know, we need to talk about interesting things and get very excited and have nerdgasms. So, siege summons is up to 8 players of the same primary archetype banding together to create monumental effects during a siege. So what does that mean? Well, a couple examples have been given by Steven. Sorry, this beverage, man. I think I've drank too much of the beverage already. Summoners can collaborate to summon larger summons, such as golems. So summoners can summon a bigger summon, and the leader of the group controls the summon. Siege summon will be sized based on the number of summoners participating in that activity with a maximum of 8. So the group size is 8. If you have all 8 in that party are summoners, you get to summon a gigantic golem. And when I read this, like summoner siege abilities, I assumed that meant in sieges, but we'll get to that. Apparently, maybe not. We'll get to that in a little bit. The number of summoners participating in the summon will determine its overall size. We've already talked about that. All summoners must be in the same party, and party leader must be a summoner. Gotcha. Party leader initiates the summon, takes control, but got it. Once summoned, the party leader cannot be changed. Makes sense. If party disbands, the summon ends. There will be a grace period to handle disconnects. Makes sense. The party may also contain non-summoners. Makes sense. It doesn't have, and this is a key thing as well, it doesn't have to just be summoners. But it has to be a party led by a summoner with other summoners in it. So that's interesting. So it doesn't have to be all of one archetype. So that's interesting as well. So in terms of siege summons, we know that it's not just summoners, right, that they can do these siege summons. Tanks. He's also talked about tanks and a potential ability that the tanks might have. The tanks could essentially take their summon wall ability and make it into a huge wall that could split a raid in a siege. So that makes sense. So interesting. I find this really, really interesting, and I love this feature. I'm very excited. If you can't tell, I'm very excited about this feature. So we went through the wiki. Here's the questions I asked in the Discord, and I got an immediate response from Jalon. You always get an immediate response when you ask in the question sections, a section of Discord. It's pretty incredible what those guys do in that Discord. Lex, Jalon, and there's some others that just answer almost immediately that know basically that everything there is to know about the game, and I think that's really cool. I'm a big fan of that. I asked these questions. I have some questions about siege summons. How many siege summons in a siege can occur at any one time? Can you have multiple siege summons from one archetype in siege at one time? Are the siege summons going to only be available in a siege, or will they also be available in other game modes? And Jalon answered, and Jalon knows about as much as anybody, maybe the most of anybody other than Steven. I don't know, but he definitely knows a lot. And now the wiki didn't say some of these things, that's why I asked it. And he is saying you could have multiple siege summons available. So you could, like, so all the summoners could summon their golem, and then another party of 8 could also summon a golem. That's the way I understand it, according to the response from Jalon, and I could be wrong. But that seems like what he's saying. And so obviously the same for each archetype. So the tanks, if you had an 8-man tank group, they summon the wall. Another 8-man tank group could also summon a wall at the same time. That's the way I'm taking it. Now, I wish I had an official like quote from Steven on this, because obviously he's the ultimate arbiter of these sort of things, and I don't have that. But we're gonna say Jalon's a pretty dang good source, so we're gonna say that this seems like it could be very possible that this is true. So in essence, you could have like multiple of these siege summons going off all at once. Now, I didn't ask the question, what's the cooldown? But my assumption, and I'm almost certain, there's going to be a huge cooldown on these abilities, so that you're just not spamming them, obviously, in the siege, because they sound like they could be game changers. They're like a elite almost is what they sound. They're like an ultimate almost. He also said, and this is the part that I think is the most interesting. He is saying that it's not just siege, that it could also be in the open world, because I asked that question, and he's saying no, you can do it anywhere. So I find that if that's true, that's really interesting. So you could do it like in PvE, you could do it in open world PvP, like a caravan or something like that. Which I think would be cool. I'd love to see that. I don't think it should just be in sieges. I think it should be everywhere. I think that would be cool, just an extra dynamic. The more dynamic you can make combat in general and interactions in general in an MMO, I think just really increases the replayability and the fun factor, which is obviously at the end of the day, that's what we're here for, is fun, right? So we know about the tank, the wall, we know about the summoner, about the golem. I just kind of theory crafted potentially what the siege summon ability could be for the other classes. Fighter maybe gets a huge like speed boost for the whole group. Rogue, longer term, and maybe a stronger stealth. Like we just did a video on stealth. Maybe it's not a complete cloak, but it's very close. It's like 95% stealth instead of 80%. Maybe that's a thing. Ranger constructs like a huge tower that they can shoot from that increases their range. That's a temporary tower. That'd be kind of neat. Mages, obviously this would probably be overpowered, but of course a lot of these are probably overpowered. But a giant rain of fire, or frost, or like a blizzard. Obviously that would be probably overpowered, especially in raids and in group PvP scenarios where it's typically big ball versus big ball, and kind of battling it out at ranged. If you can just drop a gigantic AoE down, obviously that could be game changing. Cleric, like a giant like shield dome that I don't know if it would I don't know, you could go multiple ways with this. So in Guild Wars 2 Guardian, I played a lot of Guardian in Guild Wars 2. And I probably need to get back to streaming a little bit more and maybe stream some Guild Wars 2, but they had a reflectability, not very useful in structured PvP, but in large-scale PvP, the world versus world, which kind of sucks in Guild Wars. But the reflect thing could be quite strong. So maybe it's a shield dome that reflects projectiles back to the enemy raid. That would be kind of neat. Or it could be just a shield dome that reduces damage taken from projectiles, as maybe they'll get through the dome, but it drastically reduces their damage. It could be it could be a shield dome that just literally heals everybody inside of it. A lot of options there. Now Bard, now they're saying that they want Bard to be like not just a buff bot like it is in all other MMOs, which is going to be hard to do. But I came up with something which I think could be kind of fun. Maybe they summon like a huge like Bard, like Golem type thing, like Bard summon that shields and buffs the other raid summons that are active. So, for instance, if the Golem is out there, this Bard will go out there and provide shields and buffs for the Golem. Plus, the more summons that are on the battlefield, the more damage they do, and you could, so if there's like 4, like so the tank and the rogue, ranger all got their summon out, and the summoner has their summon out. Let's say all those are out, and then Bard pops his, the 8-man Bard team pops theirs. Let's say that thing just does massive damage because there's all those summons out there. That could be really cool. So like, Bard typically is like buffing other classes, but in this case, in a way, the other classes are buffing the Bard. That'd be kind of, that's something that I thought that could be kind of dynamic and kind of neat. Just a theory craft. These are obviously nothing that came from anybody official. This all came from my really screwed up brain. Guys, video's over. Unfortunately, this is the worst part. You know, we got to put our pants back on because we got to go do big boy stuff out in the real world. That's a sad time. Guys, I'm Jim Carrey. It's been good to be with you for this video. I got something really, really special for the outro this time. So my favorite musician of all time is Jimi Hendrix, and my favorite song from him is Hey Joe. And so Jimi Hendrix is here, and he's going to sing Hey Joe for us on the way out. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Hey Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand? Hey Joe, I said, where you going with that gun in your hand? I'm going down to shoot my lady. I caught her messing around with another man. I'm going down to shoot my lady. You know I caught her messing around with another man. And you ain't. and that ain't too cool. Hey Joe, I heard you shot your mama down. You shot her down now. Hey, Joe, I heard you shot your lady down. Shut her down in the ground.